What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning back into another video. As you can see, we're back in the garage continuing some of the winter maintenance on the Nova. There's a few things that I've done off camera that I need to update you guys on, and then a few things we're going to do in this video. I have the supercharger off currently. I'm going to get that all polished up and the intake polished up, make that look all nice and put that back together. The car hasn't been started in probably a month or more, so I'm gonna, once we get the supercharger and all that put back on, we'll pull the car outside, put it up on some jack stands, warm it up, get the fluids moving. I also am going to plug in the laptop to the fuel tech and see if our new drive shaft speed sensor is working. I haven't tested that yet, so we'll make sure that sensor's reading. And then I think at the end of the video, I've had a lot of people ask me how E85 has been going as far as maintenance and if it's eaten up any fuel lines or fuel filters or anything like that. So I thought maybe I'd go over the fuel system a little bit, what I did to upgrade to E85, and then what I do in the winter time or when the car is going to be sitting for a bit, as far as maintenance, draining it out, draining the carb and all that kind of stuff. So I'll go over that. So also apologies if I sound like crap and I'm out of breath. I've been sick the last few days, so bear with me.
Hand on the Bible, I'm a decent man. No, I ain't perfect, but I'm learning how to be the best I can. But I got demons collecting dust, and I buried them so damn far down so they can't find their way back up. So don't mistake my kindness for weakness, cause I can flip that switch and you can find out quick. There's a hell on the other side that you ain't met yet. Tread real light, dare you to light that fuse, cause I can be a loose cannon. Cross the line, I'll call you bluff. Promise when push come to shove, but you don't want that smoke. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Don't pull the trigger, try your luck. If you shoot your shot, better pray to God that I don't get my ass back up, cause you won't get your ass back up. There's a hell on the other side that you ain't met yet. Tread real light, dare you to light that fuse, cause I can be a loose cannon. Cross the line, I'll call you bluff. Promise when push come to shove, but you don't want that smoke. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. You don't wanna know the devil you don't. So don't mistake my kindness for weakness, cause I can flip that switch and you can find out quick. There's a hell on the other side that you ain't met yet. Tread real light, dare you to light that fuse, cause I can be a loose cannon. Cross the line, I'll call you bluff. Promise when push come to shove, but you don't want that smoke. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. You don't wanna know the devil you don't.
Something you might have noticed, but I forgot to show you guys. I put a new spoiler and repainted the bumpers on the car. And this, yeah, this full bumper spoiler looks way better than the old one I had on there. The old one was more of like a sport touring look. This new fiberglass one looks way better. All right, guys, got the car cooled off, back on jack stands, back in the garage, in the warm. And I want to go over or answer a question that I've gotten multiple times since switching over to E85, and that is, what are some of the upgrades that I did to the fuel system to be compatible with E85, and then also what I do in the winter or times where the car is not going to be started for weeks or months at a time to actually store the car since I switched over to E85. Do I do anything with the fuel system? Do I leave E85 in it? That kind of stuff. So to start, obviously, if you've been watching for any period of time, you've seen the ATM E85 carburetor that we have on here. That thing has been amazing. So obviously you have to, or I highly recommend upgrading your carburetor for an E85 spec, which is gonna be, flow a lot more than a normal gasoline carburetor. And I would also highly suggest looking at upgrading your fuel lines. You don't have to, but I have seen guys that have switched over to E85 or alcohol and left their normal, rubber hose for a fuel line on there, and it deteriorates and dries out and cracks over time, causing a fuel leak. So I upgraded to not a PTFE, but it's a synthetic rubber from Fragola. It's E85 and alcohol rated. It's a nice black braided line, but it has a synthetic rubber inside. And from what I understand, that synthetic rubber is a lot more resistant to that, cracking and drying out with running alcohol or E85. So again, not a necessity, but something that I would highly recommend. Moving to the back and underneath the car, obviously with alcohol and E85, you use a lot more fuel or need a lot more fuel for the engine. So you're probably gonna have to look at upgrading your fuel pump. I upgraded to the Holley Black fuel pump, which to be honest with you, isn't quite enough. It does fine for most of my racing. Being at high altitude, it supplies just enough fuel, but I am at the limits of this fuel pump and will probably upgrade in the future. But this pump is rated for alcohol or E85, so won't have any issues with the insides of the pump, falling apart, rusting, or anything like that. So although I am at the limits of it, I probably will need to get a bigger, like a MagnaFuel fuel pump or something like that in the future. This has been great so far. And then I've ran these Holley fuel filters since I built the car, but it's a billet canister with a stainless steel filter inside. And those are gasoline or E85 rated. You really just don't want like a paper filter. So those have done great for me so far. So even with those upgraded parts that are E85 rated, I probably would be fine to just leave E85 in the fuel system during the winter when the car sits for a period of time. But I still like to take those extra precautions, and I'll show you kind of my process of what I do to drain the E85 out of the fuel system and put gasoline in there for when the car sits for an extended period of time. I don't do this at all during the summertime when we're racing every weekend or every other weekend. The car started and moving enough to where I don't drain it all summer. This is just a wintertime thing. So I'll show you some of the things that I do. I don't think it's probably the perfect way, but it's worked great for me, and a couple of cool little things I think you could look at doing to your car or your build if you are looking to switch over to E85. So the car is currently on E85. We ran it on E85 earlier today when I started it up. I have it on jack stands, and I always jack the front up just a little bit higher than the back, so all the fuel comes back to the back of the fuel cell here. And if you can see on this outlet of the fuel cell, the other one, I put a petcock fitting on there. So I'll take this empty jug of E85, slide it under there, open the petcock, and I'll actually drain whatever is in the fuel cell into that. And then I'll turn the fuel pump on for a second as well to get whatever's in the pump and in the lines drained back into the fuel cell here. what I always do is I'll flip the fuel pump switch on inside the car. That way I can just control it with the main power switch back here in the back. Okay, fuel cell's about empty, so I'll flip on the power, which will turn on the fuel pump, and I'll get a little bit of whatever's left in the lines. And then I just have a can of pump gas, just that you get from the gas station, and I'll put that in the fuel cell, turn the fuel pump back on, and let this gasoline go through the pump and the fuel lines. Close the petcock and just throw in normal gasoline into the fuel cell from the gas station. Like I said, I'll kick the fuel pump on one more time now that I got normal gasoline in there. Let that run through the lines. Okay, now you have normal gasoline through all of the fuel lines, through the pump, in the fuel cell. Now we'll just move up front and we're gonna take off the carburetor. Once I have the carburetor off, I just drain the bowls. Makes it handy if you have one of these cups to catch it in. And once the bowls are drained, I'll just throw a little bit of WD-40 on the top here. Sometimes I'll take the whole thing apart. I did it earlier this winter, and I'll actually, WD-40 the power valve and stuff like that. But yeah, for now, I'll just throw some WD-40 in the top here. And that is how I store the car during the winter and take all the E85 out. Before we end this video off, there is something else I want to show you, something I've been working on this winter. It has been cold here in Idaho, but we'll head out to the trailer. I probably should have videoed some of this, but I don't know why I didn't, but a little bit of a transformation in the trailer here. Got some coin floor on the ground. Nothing is glued yet, but it really just started with this. I was like, man, I just want some coin floor, something that looks a little bit better than just the wood that was on the ground. I still have to figure something out with the back door, but yeah, started with the coin floor, and then I was like, got this in here. I'm like, man, it looks too good. I gotta try something with the walls. So I ended up going to Lowe's and Home Depot and finding this poly wall. It's just plastic wall. Got those screwed on there and got some trim to cover all the screws. And yeah, it turned out pretty good. There's still a couple little things I got to do. Like there's a couple of spots it's not sticking super close to the wall, like right here. But I got some spray Gorilla Glue that I'll spray in there once it warms up a little bit to stick it to the wall. But got some E-track there, so I'll be able to tie up my toolbox while we're traveling so it doesn't move around. Kind of found a cool idea for this little mountain bike helmet light I used to have. It's adjustable, so just got that hooked up with the rest of the lights so I can get some more light in here or turn it down and have some light on the toolbox and some other things that's up here in the front of the trailer. So trailer is feeling a little bit more comfortable this year and definitely looks a lot better too. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off there. That's going to end this video. I really appreciate you guys, commenting, liking the videos, subscribing, everything that you guys do to help me grow the channel, especially in the wintertime when it's 15 degrees here in Idaho. It's really hard to find content to make, but race season's coming soon. It'll be here before we know it, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.